Hello and welcome to Nick V Uncensored. Today we've got Dr. Northrup and Mark Michaud, and today we're going to be talking about the medical system, how there's a war against humanity with our healths, natural medicine and PEMF. And Mark has a fantastic testimonial to show you. He's going to share his screen just in just a moment. But guys, thank you so much for joining me. How are you and what have you been up to? We'll go with Mark first.
Well, I've been doing great. It's kind of crazy. We had a chance to move into a new place here in Maine, and now we're loving it. But it's really nice coming into the summer and looking forward to having a great year.
Oh, great stuff. Thank you so much, Mark. And Dr. Northrup, how about yourself?
I feel as though we are being reborn. We just experienced Easter. Spring is here, at least in the Northern Hemisphere. And so many of us were right about so much that started in 2020. And now we feel, to me, we're coming out of this. People are coming back together and they're understanding that the people who tore us apart have always funded both sides. Because if we can get humanity to fight with each other, then they win. But when we come together, then we are powerful beyond anything. And I think a lot of people have awakened to, wait a minute, there's a lot of stuff that went on during the COVID era that has no medical basis whatsoever. And now we're going to truly build the new earth that we've been talking about.
Absolutely. We're going to build this new earth with there's been a lot of, obviously, big pharma has been owned by, a very small number of people. The Rothschild and the Rockefellers are in cahoots, and health has been weaponized against humanity with patents, especially that are synthetic, that is harmful to the body, that doesn't actually reverse diseases or anything like that. It actually makes us a lot worse. And today we want to talk about the weaponization of that, and also the natural medicines, because many of them have been suppressed and many of them are ancient, and now they're coming to the surface that we want to talk about. And this is the future of the new earth. I believe that, before we go into the PEMF with Mark, because we're both going to talk about this, all three of us, and I know, Mark, you've got a picture to show that you've used for yourself. Dr. Northrup, why don't you tell us where you think this is going in the future regarding natural medicine?
Well, if you look at the turn of the century, about 1910, a man named Abram Flexner was hired by John D. Rockefeller to take on all of natural medicine. And what he did was he closed all the natural medical schools. There were many. Hahnemann Medical School was originally a homeopathic medical college. The original controlled prospective clinical trial, placebo-controlled, actually came from homeopathy. And it's fascinating that all these natural cures worked. So we're rethinking, for instance, the Spanish flu epidemic of 1918. The reason so many people died then is that the telegraph came in and we sort of had to experience EMF, electromagnetic fields, that the human body had never experienced before. Plus, they gave people massive amounts of aspirin so they would bleed into their lungs. So all of these epidemics that we've been taught about are not what you think they are. But gradually, they made pharmaceutical, patent-based, petroleum-based medicine the standard. And they called all of these ancient medicines alternative. It's an exact inversion. You cannot patent anything that God has put in this earth. So remember, in Genesis, God says, I have given you everything you need, herbs, the plants of the field, the animals, you have dominion over everything. So then they came in, we would call it, whatever you want to call it, the dark ones, the enemy, whatever. And so they made these patented substances, which are not found in nature, the gold standard. And then when people started to get cancer, the same people started the American Cancer Society. The average American over the age of 65 is on 6 prescription drugs at this point. This is not how humanity was made. We're made in the image of God, fearfully and wonderfully made, fearfully meaning awesomely and wonderfully made. So we have forgotten who we are, and we've forgotten what we are capable of. And so, therefore, substances or approaches like PEMF, which is building on the fact that we are electrical creatures, we are biophotonic light condensed into matter. And when you understand that, then you'll find that different approaches, well, you've probably heard about med beds, but why wait for a med bed when there's so much you can do yourself with light, with sound, with frequency, with pulsed electromagnetic field. I have this little toy from Amazon, and I like to show people what happens when you do this. Okay. We are voltage. We are electrical beings, period, end of story. So if you increase your voltage, then you can heal anything, because our voltage is constantly being drained from us. We are batteries, and the voltage is constantly being drained by what's called parasitism. And that would be EMF, lousy food, negativity on the news, all the ways in which your life energy is drained by fear, by anger, by despair, by grief. Notice what's happened over the last 5 to 6 years. Everyone's been scared to death, and then they've been coerced into doing exactly the opposite of what would have healed them. And those of us who had a lot of great ideas for how to stay healthy were broadly censored. So I was one of the infamous disinformation dozen, which was just a willy-nilly thing. There's no data to support this whatsoever. Out of the Center for the Countering of Digital Hate, a Soros-funded organization out of your lovely country of England. So our group is, we're fighting that particular brand of censorship. But indeed, as a holistic physician, as a former president of the American Holistic Medical Association, I can tell you that doctors with actual cures for cancer, cures for everything, have been systematically singled out and either killed or destroyed. This is not new. This has been going on for decades.
Absolutely. I like your example with the electro stuff that you showed with, that we are electromagnetic field. That's what we are. This is a spiritual war, because our souls, we emit this toroidal field, this light, this energy. And when we stand in our truth and we have compassion and love, that energy field expands even more. And this can be detected scientifically with the frequency technology that the Pentagon have. And they see clusters of souls who are very, very lit up, if you like. And what they do is they throw in propaganda. They see clusters, and geographically they throw in propaganda, and then they put us back into fear to stop that light from expanding. And this is a spiritual war, and this is what they're trying to do. And they are parasites. And they're after the louche, harvesting energy from our souls, because that's like battery. If you watch The Matrix, Keanu Reeves said himself, it's a documentary, so absolutely. But we're going to talk about PEMF. And Mark, I want to pass it over to you. Why don't you tell us what all of this is about?
Sure. And, I got to tell you, I'm far from the expert on pulse electromagnetic frequency field therapy. And I just have to tell you that I'm really grateful I learned about it, because it was back about almost a year ago. I had a friend of mine reach out to me and told me about this. And I was like, oh, that's interesting stuff. And Danielle, my life partner, she sat there and said, oh, PEMF, that's wonderful stuff. And so she got excited about it. And I had never heard of it personally. And he just shared with me some information about a company that was actually just getting started. It had been around since 2022 and had already done over $1 billion in sales outside the U.S. And they were coming to the U.S. and they were bringing their technology here. And I was like, oh, that's interesting. So we kind of ended up getting a couple of their devices. I called up Dr. Northrup and I said, listen, I'm curious about this. And I asked her advice on PEMF and she filled me in. I was like, wow, that's pretty fascinating. I shared with her information about this device that we just simply put our feet on. And it's also got red light therapy and other things such as that. And she said, wow, that's pretty interesting. So we both sight unseen order this device and we got the device. And once we did, we started using it. And I have to tell you, the results have been amazing. Now, I have to tell you, I was not consistent with it. And in October of last year, we moved into a new home and I did most of the lugging, going up and down stairs, bringing in wood, and my Achilles got very inflamed. So I'd been dealing with chronic inflammation on my left Achilles tendon for 6 months. And I was using this device occasionally, but I wasn't using it consistently. I'd try it, wait a couple days, then do it again. It would help relieve some of the pain. But finally, about 2 weeks ago, I was dealing with it again, constant, chronic like it was. And I said, I'm going to be consistent for 3 days, just see what it does. And I did. And I'm going to show you the picture of what I had. I had my stepson take for me. And so this is in 3 days. And I don't know if you can see right down here on the lower left part of the ankle, but look at that inflammation. I did nothing different. I didn't elevate my foot. I didn't ice my foot. Matter of fact, we got 8 inches of snow and I had to push a snowblower through that. And the snowblower had a flat tire as well. So it was a lot of pushing and a lot of aggravation that was being put on that. But still, that's what it was after 3 days, simply because of I don't know whether it was the improved blood flow or whatever it was. But I have to tell you, before that, I was carrying our 16-year-old cockapoo down the stairs every morning and I had to lean against the wall so that I didn't fall down the stairs because it felt like it was going to give out. Now I'm going up and down stairs. I don't need railings. I'm walking, I'm running, I'm doing everything I couldn't before. And I'm not making any claims it's going to do that for everybody, but for me, it's a game changer. And I've got to tell you, I'm so grateful that it did that for me.
Absolutely. Mark, thank you very much for sharing that. And so great we have Dr. Northrup here because we can understand what happened here scientifically, medically. Dr. Northrup, what do you think happened there? How do you think PEMF helped Mark see these results in his ankle?
It is a grounding technology. So we know that when you stand barefoot on sand or on the earth, it decreases cellular inflammation because you're getting negative ions from the earth herself. Well, PEMF is like grounding on steroids. So it's like when you put your feet on this device or you use one of the other PEMF devices, you are flooding your body with anti-inflammatory, negatively charged electrons. Now, all chronic degenerative disease starts with cellular inflammation. PEMF decreases cellular inflammation. So it doesn't matter what a diagnosis is. What matters is you're getting your charge back. What's happening inside the cell, there are these things called mitochondria. They're the powerhouse of the cell. And if they do not have voltage, it doesn't matter what you do. You can't absorb nutrients. No matter what you do, you can't detoxify because the battery it'd be like you're sitting there, your cell phone's at 10%, and you're trying to download a video. You can't do it. There's no bandwidth. When you get your voltage back up, when you recharge your cells, then your body knows what to do because your body is made in the image of God and all things are possible. So this is the kind of technology that is a game changer. We're realizing we are sound, we're frequency, we are light. And this is a way to use healing frequency to allow the body to heal itself. And Mark's ankle is a perfect example. We've also seen, I've seen myself in my own body, varicose veins disappearing, all kinds of pain, let's say wrist problems, numbness in the bottom of the feet, all of that. But all of it is because this PEMF is foundational. It's like we tell everyone to stay hydrated, right? Okay. If you're dehydrated, your cardiovascular system doesn't work. Your fascia doesn't work. Well, this is the same. If you're low in voltage, if you're low in frequency, then nothing's going to work. So that's the first thing you want to do is increase your frequency. And that's why we find that so many people when they use this device, they sleep better, they lose weight, their blood sugar stabilizes, even their mood is enhanced. And that to me is something that everyone needs. And also, here's the other thing I like, Nicholas. You don't need to be like a holistic health nut for this to work. I have loved that. It's very, I call it very American, because Americans always go, well, don't you have a pill? Isn't there something? Please tell me I don't need to exercise or eat better. The truth is, this helps even if someone's not exercising and not eating better, again, because of the foundational nature of give the body the voltage and then the body will do what it needs to do.
Absolutely. And this energy, this voltage we're talking about is universal to the human body because this is natural, made by God. We become, we get this energy when we gaze at the sun in the morning, or when we touch a tree, or when we ground ourselves on the soil or on the earth, because we are the earth. We were born here. We didn't come from another dimension. We're from the earth, right?
Right.
Mark, what was your experience like when you saw this swelling going down? Is this something that you have to repeat to keep your voltage up with your body? What's your experience like? How do you maintain?
Well, I mean, it's just primarily, it actually works to get your body functioning back the way it is. And so eventually, if I just continue to use it and continue to work it, I might get the inflammation back again if I'm not using the device. But it's not something that is just a temporary fix. It's actually getting the body back to the way it is, at least in my case, because I've gone days now without being on it, and it still has not gone back to the way that it was before. Now it's still tender, just simply because it was a lot of work, and you're talking just a very short time ago that I had all this happen, but. I'm just continuing to sit on it every day, and I can feel the thing is that I can feel it flowing through my feet into my body. We actually have a pen that we can use where we can touch our body. You can see the pen light up, so you can know that the energy is flowing up into your upper body and so forth. And it's been amazing. And the thing that got both of us excited, Dr. Northrup and myself, was that we were hearing stories that I'm not going to go into detail now, but they're life-changing stories of people that literally had tried so many different things to remedy whatever it was that they were doing, and now they're getting great relief and great benefits from using this technology and these devices. And I have to tell you, it's to see people who have been in chronic pain and inflammation like myself be able to either get rid of that or drastically reduce it is a wonderful thing. It's a great cause. And that's why I think everybody should at least try it. One of the things that we're doing is we're having people actually put their feet on the device, and people are falling in love with it. And so it's just been amazing. I'm thrilled with it. And I'm not the type of guy who likes to run to a doctor because, like you both have been talking about so many times, it's going to the pill. And I don't want to go to that in that direction. I want to heal naturally. And this has just been a godsend.
Absolutely. How long, Dr. Northrup, do you see this going viral or going into the medical system, with PEMF technology? Do you think this is something that mainstream healthcare is going to adopt, or do you see this that we are going to create the new earth, possibly where people just become more independent, take responsibility, and the systems, the ancients, or is it ancient, or more the deep state ain't. The deep state systems will just die off and just fall away because they will just lose power as we awaken. I mean, that's my theory of it. But what do you think of that?
Well, I like your theory. I will tell you right now, chiropractors, physical therapists, nurse practitioners, they're all using PEMF. And there are so many different devices. Mark and I have one particular one that we use, but there are, it's now becoming standard because we know there's nowhere else to go. Like, how are you going to, like, I have a family member right now who is in the process of transitioning. If they take the heart medication away, then he gets swelling of the legs. But if they give him stuff for swelling of the legs, it adversely affects his kidneys. I mean, you get to the point where you say, wait a minute, if the heart isn't improved, if the lymphatic system isn't improved, you can't chase it with medication anymore. So I see that what we're going to have is there's a split. There are those who are coming with us and those who are not coming with us. But eventually, I believe that what Jesus was all about is not, my kingdom is not of this world, he said, but the earth is the Lord's and the fullness thereof. Our job is to bring heaven to earth, and that will include God-given frequencies, because we are frequencies. We know that with sound. We know that we've been bombarded with demonic music and so on in ways that we had no idea, but now we're waking up. And when you get your voltage back to where God meant it to be, because who's walking around barefoot? First of all, you can't do it in Maine all winter. And, and second of all, you don't even know what you're stepping on. This is a way that for 20 minutes a day, maybe twice a day, because actually I love the treatment. It feels wonderful. You feel your body getting restored. You can feel it going up your ankles and so on. So to me, Buckminster Fuller said, you don't move forward by fighting the old. You build something better, and the old just dies by itself. That's kind of where we are. We're not funding the old thing. Now, those people who want to be hooked up to the parasite, if you want to inject yourself or be chipped or whatever it is, you go ahead. We're not doing that. We're doing this over here. Yeah.
Yeah, absolutely. I think us bringing heaven on earth is a state of consciousness, which is Christ consciousness that is awakening within us. We remember that, remember who we are, because it's the king of the kingdom of God is within us. And I think that is our essence, our natural essence before we came here on earth, and we forgot and we were corrupted. So Mark and Dr. Northrup, thank you so much for sharing everything with us today. I'm going to leave a link below in the description so the viewers have access to the PEMF that you are both using, and Mark, especially yourself, that you have used and you've seen great results. We want to share this with everyone and the viewers. But before we go, I want to ask you both if there's anything else that you would want to say to the viewers before we finish. Mark, I want to go with you first.
Well, I'll just simply say I'm grateful for what this did to me. As we age, our bodies get older and start to break down. And as Dr. Northrup has said, if we can get our bodies just recharged so they're going back to just natural healing, that would be wonderful. And this is, I think, the best thing that I've ever been able to experience in that sense.
Absolutely. Thank you. And Dr. Northrup.
And I agree with that. And so, if you want to get a hold of us, Mark and I will make sure that you get the information and that you need. And we will, personally follow up with you. And I want people to know that, this isn't just you're going to go over to a big corporate thing and some AI machine is going to then take your name. No. This is us. This is grassroots.
No, absolutely. Thank you very much for sharing all of that with us today. And I want to just, because we're putting this on YouTube, and I just want to, we need to bypass the matrix tools to get the truth out there. And we need to protect our platform, preserve it. And because of that, I'd like to say that this podcast is for entertainment purposes only, and testimonials are unique to each individual and not typical. We make no medical claims about PEMF devices. Results vary. Consult your doctor before use, or if you have any questions or health questions. But guys, thank you very much. And again, we'll speak very soon. You take care, and God bless you both. Bye-bye.
Thank you, Nick. Bye.